What's up, guys? Welcome to Devil Advocate. I think tonight will be a fun, relaxed show. Um, we again for the last few ones we've been talking about marriage and divorce and shit like that. So I wanted to do a little bit, maybe change it up a little bit. Uh, so let's see how things go. We'll see where certain topics will lead us, and then we'll see what if we will react to certain things at the end or whatnot we'll do. But let's just hope for a fun show. um as always, Mr. Nothing Special, I am your host, and my good friend Average Joe, my co-host, my amazing podcast partner. um
What's up, y'all?
so you brought it. How about let's you brought this topic. Okay, so let's how about give a gist. Um,
So to start
just
with,
a yeah, just a synopsis. What do you like your thought of what we're gonna go about?
okay. We're gonna talk a little bit about women in hip hop today, I guess, and the entertainment scene a little bit, because the other show that I'm occasionally on, um, my friends at Head Nurse in Charge, had discussion about Sexy Red and Suki Hana and other lady rappers after I think Sexy Red reacted on social media to someone who claimed that she was put on the scene to misguide women, uh, and she reacted to that, and uh, the host of my other show, Henders in Charge, reacted to that, and we might react to it a little bit too, and have a discussion. There were some strong opinions expressed last night, um, and we also said we were gonna watch some videos, react to some videos.
Yeah, we'll definitely we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the conversation goes.
Okay.
Sometimes the conversation can get
It
crazy
just,
long. So
it
yeah,
just very
we'll
good.
just talk. So who knows? But that's why in recent weeks, right? Probably about no more maybe than a month or so. Uh, uh, Sexy Red and Sukiana, two female rappers, released a crazy raunchy song that pushes probably pushes the buttons, right? And I think social media were they were in outrage in a sense that um, these two women are just pretty much pushing the I don't know raunchy buttons, right, of rap. And I guess they bring up a lot of questions about about maybe about black culture, right? Probably some of the things
Okay.
that's I think personally has been a poison in my view to the
Hmm.
black community. It has been very, let's say, maybe a hindrance to to the uplifting of black people, right? Financially, probably not, but image wise, and maybe morality, and maybe principles. I believe it has been a detriment to the black community to strengthen the community. So, that's where I've been going at it and been very critical of it.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
we could always see. We'll see. We will be reacting to my friend's he sometimes goes on it. This it's Head Nerds in Charge, right? As you as it is. Um, it's a check it out if you guys want. I think their topics are very pop culture, right?
They're very much about pop culture and nerd culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's what you guys are interested into, you guys should check it out. So let's try it out. Let's get some reactions. But I'll probably skip some parts or whatever, So you guys, if you guys want, you should check it out, the whole thing.
I have my opinions about this, but tell me one thing. I need to know. There was, and I set it up before, but Sexy Red, up and coming.
Oh, and I know the creator, right, the TikToker, that she was I guess fighting back against, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All
She's
right.
very she's a black woman. I
Okay.
like her too.
Okay.
That she holds black women accountable, right? She talks a lot about, she talks about men too, but she talks about, holding, how holding black women accountable, a lot of things that, we talk about, a lot of things that I talk about. So she's very interesting.
Woman rapper reacted to a social media user claiming that she was really put out by the industry to misguide black women. Tef, how do you feel about a statement like that?
Niggas have been misguiding black women ever since they got a hold of patriarchy. So
Well, I gotta say, right?
You was gonna fire you up. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
But I can tell you this, right? Any woman that has the word or the definition patriarchy in their mouth, in their brain, is a red flag.
Oh,
any woman that that says the word patriarchy comes out of their mouth, right, in their dictionary, personal dictionary, is a red flag. That woman is a red flag.
we gotta talk about why.
Why is it's like she is? I believe that she's programmed and delusional, right? You gotta think about this patriarchy. When we were growing up, I guarantee you, this woman as well. We don't even hear or use that word, right? Us being in our late 30s, you wouldn't even, that word has only been used in the popular culture in the last 5 years or so. So really, it's like, and what's that doing, right? The 5 years, maybe the 10 years. It's all this propaganda that, I'm sorry, women, leftists, beta males, feminists have been pushing. The craziness, the delusion that these women and feminist men have been pushing.
So you don't really get like there is a patriarchy? And
no.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that because I want to do this. I want to do this, right? Because
you're doing exactly what I'm doing, but okay.
Oh, you're getting definition?
Yeah.
Go ahead. No. How about you do? You'll probably be quicker than me.
Patriarchy, it says a system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family and descent is traced through the male line.
Mm-hmm.
It also says it's a system or society of government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. The dominant ideology of patriarchy. And then third, it says a society or community organized on patriarchal lines. All right, so men in charge.
Kind of. Let's say this, right? We can dissect those couple definitions. One, nowadays, men aren't in charge of family. Men aren't head of the households, right? They aren't. Because you got to think this. Nowadays, men have also changed and adapted to women. So really, do men really hold the pants in the relationship? I'm doubtful. I'm very doubtful of it.
I don't know if that's true on a large scale. I get.
Okay, let me say this, right? I always say this. If we exclude the rest of the world, only Western society, let's say maybe Canada, US, maybe England, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's 100% true. Yeah. I think Western society has deteriorated in the sense that men aren't head of households. Men don't hold the power in the family. I don't think majority of men.
I don't want to get into the weeds about it, but I feel like in the instances where men don't hold the power, we hear a lot about it. I think there's a difference between what's actually true and what we hear about. What we hear and what we see colors, you know, our perception of things, but I don't think that's true. I think most families, the man is head of the household. I think most families are traditional families. And traditional families are like vanilla ice cream. It's nothing to talk about. Like,
I can see your point.
okay, right? So
I can see your point. I mean, we always go back to it. You know, the loudest voice could be the smallest. You know, but
I'm not saying it's rare, especially in our society. I think it is more popular now for I guess power to be more divided, or roles to be shared or exchanged, or families don't have two parents. You see a lot of different types of families now, but I still think the traditional.
let me put like a little caveat why I believe it's different, and not necessarily. Let me say this, right? I don't necessarily say it's a good or bad kind of thing, right?
Okay.
But I put the caveat that you think about it's the change of society. Women are working, women are providing themselves, right? They are contributing to the family household. Remember we talked about in a few episodes back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we talked about it. Who has the power in the relationship, right? And I said it's the person who provides. And that's why I feel like if men provide, they are more likely to have that power if they are predominantly the ones providing. I believe that how I see it's different is that relationship dynamics are different nowadays. I see women, they are contributing pretty much as equal, right, as the man.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you got to think of this, right? Let's say men have changed too. Men have been, they are actually contributing a great deal to household, what is it? Household upkeep and child raising, right? I believe men are more, like, look at this, a stat that, I forgot where, I think it was like blackstats.com or it was like stats gathered by, a black committee or whatever, right?
Okay.
That black fathers are one of the most committed fathers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of most races, and that's an amazing thing. But that shows you the change, right, in dynamics. So what I'm saying is like the roles, right, are foggy. They're mixed. They're not as constrained as they were anymore.
Now it's defined.
I'm not saying good or bad, right? Because I could get delving deep into that, but I'm not, because but I want to prove my point is that that's why I said that, like, I don't see the patriarchy in family dynamic. That's for one. Okay. Let's say for two, power in Western culture, that's wrong. We've had UK have female prime ministers, a queen, right? The US, we have a female president, vice president. We had a female running for president. You would not even think that was possible 50 years ago. I'm not saying there was never a patriarchy. That's not the argument, right? I'm saying right now, today's day and age, women, especially women and feminist men that use patriarchy in modern day are idiots. They're absolute idiots. Because society is more equal than it's ever been. Okay? People who hold the power, right? People who hold power is not predominantly men. I mean, first of all, let's say this, right?
I think it is predominantly men.
No, it's not. It's predominantly a small. See, this is where I want to tell you this. This is why I'm saying this, right?
Okay.
And why I stand for men. Okay? Because men, especially average men, do not hold the power.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking, all right, if you're talking about government, you're talking about who's running Washington. Yeah, there are a lot. Yes, we have a woman as a vice president. There are a lot of women on Congress and in Senate, but that's just women participating. They are not the majority of people running Washington or sitting as on Congress or Senate or as governors or mayors of
Well,
different.
no, that's wrong because that is a good. I mean, of course, they're not a majority. I'm not saying the majority, but
Yeah, I don't
they're
think it's
participating.
50. There's a lot, but
Yeah, there's a lot.
more
But
than
see,
there's ever been.
that's the thing, right? But see, that still defeats the argument because that they when it's predominantly when it's men, it's patriarchy is just men holding power. It's not men and a little bit of women holding power. No, it's men holding power. That's patriarchy, right?
Okay.
That's how
It's
pure patriarchy is. So now, if you want to fudge the definition, men mainly have power with a little bit of women sprinkled in. That's different. That's not the definition of patriarchy. Okay, and this is the thing where that's why I said I'm sorry. Modern women are stupid because to use patriarchy in today's society, the patriarchy is very. I always think that, let's say back in the day, right? Back maybe in the 1900s, maybe even like 1950s, if that, right? Where men hold power in practically anything you think of, right? Marriages, government, practically anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could agree with that. Men predominantly had the power.
Okay.
Right? In any kind of hierarchy, men had power. Today and age, any modern woman that says patriarchy is a stupid person. That's just how it is. Because you don't understand that notion. You don't understand how that works. Because that's why I said average men have less power than even women now. Average men have less power than women. Okay? So really, that's right there is a delusion. Second, right? With voting power of women being a good percentage of the population, women actually have a good amount of power within the process, right? And they hold positions of power. Because patriarchy, there's no such thing as women having power in any kind of position. There's no CEOs that are women, no company presidents are women, no governors, mayors, senators, vice presidents. There's been no such thing. So that's why I said, right? Women that, I'm going to repeat it until the cows come home, women that says patriarchy nowadays are deluded, stupid. They are mentally unstable, right? Because they are following in this propaganda that's happening right now, right? This thing that's like we are trying to turn women, right, into pretty much propaganda machines using the words that will, ignite other women. Toxic masculinity, right? Patriarchy, all this crap that we didn't even use those words when it meant something, right? Like I said, like we were saying, right? 1950s, 1900s, exactly. Toxic masculinity galore, patriarchy galore. But people don't even use it back then. But now, when things are, the women back in the day would dream of the life like now. Okay, they would be dreaming of a life like now, and then women are complaining about non-existent things like toxic masculinity and patriarchy in a time that those things really either don't exist or practically, they don't exist.
You're all right. That's interesting. You have a strict definition of patriarchy. I think you do.
Who fudges? See, this one. See, that's the problem.
So, I mean, slaves would dream of living in our time. That don't mean I don't have anything to complain about, right?
No, see, but you know what? I would argue about race too because I think you don't.
I think All right, that's another show. We can go at it on that. But
but that's why, you know what? That's why you guys should subscribe and check out our pod, because we would have like some fire shit to talk about.
But like, all right, patriarchy. All right, if a patriarchy, a system of society or government in which men hold the power, right? Before we get down to the level where we're at, average people who are all governed, right? At the top, there's men. Even if there's a sprinkling of women, I get it. Kamala Harris is the vice president. Kamala doesn't, God bless her, she doesn't do much because until, I don't want this to happen, but until Joe Biden kills over,
let's not do that, because even Joe Biden does nothing. I mean, come on, let's not.
I'm not even going to argue with you on that, but that's how American government works, right? A lot of checks and balances, I guess.
But see, that's the thing, right? You just said it yourself. Checks and balances. So really, no one really. I mean, the power dynamic is not really there.
It's here. It's there. All right. How many? Out here's where power lies. Power lies with money, right?
I agree with you there.
Okay. How many CEOs are not men? How many owners of billion-dollar NFL or NBA sports teams are not men? How many non-men run big entertainment companies and studios? Who has the money in our society?
Let's say this, right? Okay, great. You want to do that? Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you may not. This is off topic because we haven't talked. But you pretty much
we'll
led
find our way back, y'all. We'll find our way back.
Yeah. And this is why I said we may not even get to what we other things we play on, because we talk like a lot of shit.
Right.
So this is the thing where you don't understand, right? Men are different than women. We are different than women. So with men, we strive for achievements. We strive for money. Men strive to build things, to create things, to conquer things. That's men. A nature of a man is to conquer, is to build, it's to achieve. So let's tell you this, right? On the flip side, right? Education is predominantly women. The medical field, right? Even doctors, right? Surgeons, all this shit, still predominantly women. Okay? So okay, it's great that you could say CEOs and presidents are predominantly men. Great. Well, by your argument, we should force women to be plumbers too. We should force women to be construction workers too. We should force women to be sewage cleaners as well, right? Because this is the thing, right? This is where we could talk about a lot of things like race and shit like that, because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. 2023 is not 1920s. It's not. Okay? It's not even the 1900s. Not even the 40s. A lot of things nowadays is that it's the effort you put. It's the path you choose. Okay? I can tell you this. Predominantly colleges, right? Women, do you know the fields women pick? They do not pick. Okay? I can tell you this. They definitely do not pick engineering, right? They don't pick the sciences, right? They don't pick math, any kind of sciences, right? They don't pick that. They don't pick the engineering jobs. Women don't pick the predominantly jobs that would pay more. Women don't. What do they pick? Teachers. Jobs that deal with social work. Jobs that deal with people. There was a study, right, that predominantly said that women love dealing with people. Men love dealing with things. Right?
Okay.
There was continue on that study, right? Scandinavia, right? You know, the Scandinavian country.
Mm-hmm.
They are the most equality centric nation in the world. Like absolutely, there's absolutely no barriers to equality in that country, in those countries. There's none. You can't pick one. You can't even look for one, right? And there was a study that did that. Women predominantly chose fields that deal with people, teachers, nurses, social workers, you name it. Men predominantly chose to deal with, money and things, right? Objects, right? Engineering, accounting, shit like that. Sciences, math, shit like that. Okay. So that's why I bring the subject is that at the end, 2023, there is no such thing as a woman that can't build her own business, that can't work crazy hours, sacrifice. I can tell you this: most CEOs have sacrificed their youth to become the CEO that they are now. They sacrifice time with family, sacrifice, I don't know, whatever, time with anyone else, relationships, to become the presidents of companies, CEOs of companies, right? They cutthroat. They literally cutthroat. I mean, like they figuratively, cutthroat anybody that gets in their way, shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
To become who they are today. That's just how it is. It shows you that we're different.
Okay.
But what I go back is that it's choice that makes us what the path that we get on, the path that we have now. So that's why I feel, that's why I keep on saying patriarchy is a bunch of malarkey to this day and age.
All right, so
I don't know how you cannot see the logic. I don't know how you can not see the logic.
I'm not saying you're wrong about that. And that makes sense. I could Google it real quick. Yeah, you're right. Like 16% of all engineers in the US are women. The other 84% are men.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, interesting point, right? But even if that's the path they chose, if men have worked their way to the top and they're in power, if they control the companies, if they control the money, they control most of the government, then men have most of the power. That's a patriarchy.
No.
Motivation is about a patriarchy is a society where men are in charge, right?
No, because let's say this, right? Because the difference is, right? And we go back to it, it's choice. There are some women, right? We look at our society. Even 16% is some women. It's not 100%. So that's the difference with patriarchy. I don't know what. Maybe we could find a definition where
100%. Okay.
Yeah, maybe we could find a definition where there's a sprinkle of different.
I mean, my definition says they're largely excluded. It didn't say they're completely excluded.
But you know what? To be honest, is like they're not excluded at all. That's the thing. That's the difference. When you see, that's the thing when they're different.
That's true.
It is because, like I said, it's choice. That's the difference, right? You're excluded from something is that you're not allowed.
I think there are plenty of fields where it can't be said publicly. See, and
no, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's how the society we live in gets away with a lot of their stuff.
Let's not do the cult shit.
We had this discussion about colleges a couple episodes ago, and every college puts in the fine print on their application, we do not discriminate as regards to race, sex, cultural background, whatever. We know that they absolutely discriminate because they get their friends in and they keep people they don't want in out.
Okay, fine. I'm not saying you're wrong.
They do, right?
I'm not saying you're wrong. But what I want to put a caveat is that I'm saying that that's negligible at best.
I don't know. Okay.
I believe that's negligible at best. But again, you heard our two arguments. You told our thoughts. I think you are silly for not changing your mindset.
Okay.
Right? I think that's silly
Okay.
because I put an iron CAD argument and you just like sprinkle on maybe this, maybe that. No, now you're being like a fucking woman.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Let's continue. Let's continue your friend's craziness.
I don't see why this is relevant.
Ooh. Now let me know we can wrap the main card topic up real quick, because you know me, I ain't gonna belabor a point. But what do you say to? Okay, let me. And once again, ladies, I am playing the advocate of Satan.
Boy, is he stealing my shit? Is your friend stealing my shit? Huh?
He got on his own. I didn't even prompt him.
For those that say, but would you let your daughter listen to this kind of music?
When she get grown,
Do you consider this music appropriate for young women?
when you get out my house, you do what the fuck you want to do.
Would you allow it to be played in your home with a young daughter?
First of all, y'all talking to the wrong bitch, because my son's dad had to have a conversation with me about listening to Cardi B in the car, and I was like, listen, first of all, ain't no nigga who don't have a license who's finna tell me what to play in my
Wow.
Yo, you know what? This woman, I'm sorry. Like,
That's my friend. That's Teppy. I love
I mean, it's great. I mean, that's your friend. But it's like, how does a woman have anything to stand on? When, I'm sorry. One of the key thing that black men, right, have talked about is this aggressiveness of black women. This vulgarity that black women have. Right? It's like, you pretty much, this is what I said. They I'm sorry, right? I think white women and maybe white men have destroyed black women. Right? Feminism has destroyed them, right? Has poisoned their mind. Because a while ago, right, we talked about it. I've said black marriages were the highest in the nation. They were the most married, right, in any community in the US. What broke that up? Well, black women. Why? The poisoning, right? The poisoning of feminism, of the government, right? And we could go on with other shit, but this is the thing, right? The days of our maybe your grandmas, right? Even mine, right? The feminists, the femininity, right? Of older generation black women, right? Having culture, having decorum, right? Elegance, okay? True femininity. When out of your mouth is like a curse word every other word, or out of your mouth is N-word this, N-word that, it's like, really, it's like you pretty much give credence to people saying, wow, you're just a man. The masculinity, the energy you exude. Okay? I don't know your friend from a lick of dirt. I'm not surprised she has a baby daddy. In the sense that, how can a man even stay with you for long enough to be your future husband, the man that you end up with in the grave? When this is the person you want to present to the public. Imagine the person you present to your partner in private. Again, I just view, again, I'm just saying the exterior. Maybe she's an amazing person, right? But I'm saying, like, it's just indicative of, and again, what I'm saying is not me. It's not the Asian face me. Okay? It is maybe not you too, but it's black men in general saying that black women are just aggressive, they're combative, they don't have no feminine in them.
So I gotta
Right.
ask this question. So first, just to clarify, every person on that panel, the men included, they're single, right? So they don't have mates. They are vulgar mouths because it's an adult comedy show. So yeah, they curse and stuff when they talk about whatever. But let's take my friend Teffy. She's an amazing person. I love her. She's fantastic. But let's take her for example. Is it wrong for her to speak vulgar because we're not attracted to it? Because the men on that panel and a lot of men in general speak vulgar, and it's fine. So because does that maybe if a man's not attracted to it, it's a problem. But if I can do something, if I can curse and it's fine, and a lady can curse and it's wrong, it's morally wrong. But
you pretty much
have to apply to all people. You know what I mean?
But you don't see what you're doing, right? What did I said, right? I said she exudes masculinity.
Well, what's
this is the thing? Pretty much what you're talking about, right? The aggressiveness, right? The vulgarity. It's men are just like we are. Testosterone really just makes like locker room talk, right? Barbershop talk. Men, you know how men are in general. And it's not about her as a person, right? But it's like the image she is naturally portraying, right? I'm not talking about, would she kick a cat? I'm not talking about she's a nice person, right? I'm talking about it's great. I'm telling you, right? I know that there's some women, right? Some women out there that's, we're one of the boys, right? Shit like that, right? I get that. I understand that, right? But the problem is, right? And again, like I said, it's maybe not you, right? Maybe not, the men on this panel, but in general, right? And I've listened to so many black men because one thing I want us to understand is that, right? There are more people than us or the people in our circle. The world, even the U.S. is made by millions of people, millions of black men, right? And in general, a lot of black men have said it. Women just give off, you're just a man. And it's great. Friendship, I guess, is great, right? You're one of the boys. And I've had friends like that in the past. But that's the point. That's the thing that we have to understand, that sometimes women, if let's say your friend, right? Teppy or whatever. She's one of the boys. The issue is that when she thinks when you treat her like a man, that's when women will go crazy. When you view her as okay, because this is the thing, right? Women want to pick and choose when they want to do shit, right? Pick and choose when they want to be traditional. Pick and choose everything. It's like they want to pick and choose when to be equals, when to have equality, when not to, when to be like when I want a man to hold the door for me or when I do. It's like everything's to pick and choose, right? But that's not how the world works. So if you think that you're one of the boys, well then don't be surprised that men view you as a man or view you having masculine energy, right? They don't view you as necessarily a woman. And that's, again, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that when you do something, don't be surprised that people will follow through with it. Okay? You think that, okay, fine, you want to put the masculine energy out? Well, then people are not going to view you like a woman.
See, I don't know. All right. I don't know if that's masculine energy.
I mean, you pretty much said it. You were saying it. If all the men on the panel, see, that's what I'm saying. See, because I think you're trying to find it to be politically correct, to not be, because you said a panel full of men. Let's say this, right? You kind of said it yourself. Panel full of men being vulgar, being all this stuff, being men, men being men.
I don't know if men, that's just people being people, right?
How's that people being people?
Hear me out. You and I talking.
Yes.
We aren't in the camera cussing and we aren't doing like that. And the guys on that panel, you watch the show.
No, but no, okay. This is the thing.
A masculine conversation, I don't think has that kind of energy. I think the problem is, I've heard men say the same thing too. Women are so masculine. They're so yeah, right. They're not attracted to someone who's not quiet and obedient. That's the energy it gives off, because if someone steps, if you're all right, if you're a leader, right, and someone steps up and challenges your leadership, a real leader knows how to respond, right? And it's not always with a loud mouth and rowdiness. Most of the loudest ones can't fight, right?
Yeah.
Most of the loudest ones are the ones who are the most insecure when it comes to men. That's why I say I'm not saying the roles are the same for women, because they're different from us, but that's why I say that doesn't necessarily define masculinity. I just think that guys don't like being challenged. And I'm not excusing the most extreme examples of aggressive behavior or rowdy or rebellious women. But
why would you say, okay, let's say that, why would you say men don't like being challenged?
Because you should be able to have a discussion with, say, your partner or your girlfriend, right?
Yes.
In fact, table that for a second. You and I can disagree, right?
Yes.
And not have bad feelings or a grudge, right?
Yes.
You should be able to do the same thing with a woman, right? In a relationship, if a man makes a decision and a woman disagrees with it, is she not supposed to say anything?
No, she could.
Okay.
Let me tell you this, right? I kind of understand where you're getting from, but here's where you may be you're being kind of led astray. Okay, me and you, yeah, we may be like having a disagreement, right? Mm-hmm. And then whether we come to terms with the disagreement or not, whatever, right? But we won't like come to a fist fight, shit like that, right? The difference is, right, when men, like you were talking about it before, when men and men talk, you have to have an understanding that if there's a certain point where if like, let me like, maybe me and you are a little bit weird and should say, but maybe other men, if I'm yelling at you, if I'm cursing at you and you're cursing at me, we are using our emotions, right? When it comes to men, right? When you do things that crosses a line, which is usually getting emotional, right? Because you're saying shit, right? Vulgar shit, right? Really like disrespectful shit. Okay? There's a possibility of it getting rough, getting violent, even between men. Okay? That's the key thing we gotta do, right? At least let's say, even if me and you, I mean, because we're friends, it's a little bit different. But if we were, let's say, less than friends, right? Just acquaintances or whatever, right? If we're in each other's faces and then getting really like vulgar, really just disrespectful, either we'll probably just end friendship or shit like that, or like get mad at each other. Shit, there will be a different level of of hostility. Okay. Now, the thing is with women is that they don't understand that. A lot of men that you gotta have. I get it, right? On a panel, you could play around, you could joke around and stuff like that, right? Women can take it a bit too far when they think that, okay, now that they're men, they can say the shit that they want, or they think that, oh, well, I'm one of the boys too, so I can say whatever shit I want, right? But again, women will go overboard when they think that they're disrespectful, right? Because I can guarantee you, and I'm not saying about this episode, I'm saying in general, right? Women, I guarantee you, women will go to a certain point where it will be disrespectful. If she was a true man, it will be disrespectful, right? And this is the thing where women want to pick and choose how they do it. Like we've seen it in a lot of little things where we've done in a past episode, right? Where it gets violent between men and women. This is why I said the culture is different now, right? It's because the gender roles are trying to be very disambiguous, right? And very ambiguous. Right? Women are trying to be more like men, right? But when you do that, remember we did the brick woman thing, right? Did we do that?
The what woman? Oh yeah,
The
we
brick?
talked about it. Yeah.
We talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a thing where, and we know that shit was fake and shit like that. But I'm just saying that, like, we done videos where men, have attacked women and shit like that, right? But we also talk about how those women were aggressive. They were disrespectful. Although men may deserve it and shit like that, right? But there has to be a degree, because if all those situations, if it was a man, shit would go down like that, right? It would go down like that. Men would either shoot you, beat you up, hit you with a brick, anything, right? Men would get violent with other men. That's just how it happens. But that's where I said this is a situation that's kind of similar to what I'm talking about, where when you are trying to be one of the boys, you don't understand the possible implications it has, right? Again, yes, when you're friends, it's cool, right? It's a little bit cooler. But I just say that it's a slippery slope that women are doing nowadays. Although, yes, she's doing it with one of the boys, but this is a hypothetical. I don't know, but this could be her persona, even outside of the boys' club, shit like that, right? To strangers, men that are strangers, she could be saying like N-word this, N-word that, bitch that. It's just like you could be cursing a lot. You could be disrespectful to a stranger, man. That's a stranger. And how many videos we done, right? We've done plenty. You don't know what other men would do, right? When you are aggressive towards a man, although you are a woman yourself, but you come off as a man, who knows what this man will do now? And this is the thing where we're talking about. We're talking about this where I'm saying that modern day women, they don't understand what they're doing, because now they're making money like men. They're getting educated more or just like men. They're achieving things like men or more or better than men. It's like they are trying to take up positions that were once men, which is fine, dandy, whatever. It's great. But when you take up positions that are men, you got, right? Let's say this, right? When we talk about CEOs, presidents, men of high authority, right? Mm-hmm. Like you were talking about, like owners of basketball teams, whatever. Mm-hmm. A lot of those men, I guarantee you, have been cutthroat. They have been aggressive. They have been disagreeable men. Men that do not take shit from other men. Men that don't take shit from nobody. Men that will fight to get where the position that they are. Men that would, and this is hyperbole, but men would like backstab their own mom to become CEO, whatever, right? This is what I'm saying, right? Men that get into certain positions, high positions, mm-hmm. they become a certain type of men, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, men don't usually become CEOs because they were helping out the poor. They were like being nice and all these beautiful things. It just don't happen like that, or at least not easily like that, right? Right. So a lot of things where women that steps in those positions that were once men, they have to do the same thing. Women have to become disagreeable, cutthroat, aggressive, so on and so on. take on the persona of men to become successful just like men or better. So, I've seen it. If you don't watch it, right? Other men talk about it too. Women are changing. Men are staying the same. Men are basically the same for years. Women are the one who's changing. Women are becoming more like men. So this is the thing where I just question it. I just caution it that it is great. She's one of the boys, but in general, she's very similar to a lot of black women, or just maybe even women in general, right? Where they're taking on persona of masculinity. Maybe they don't even realize it, but they are. And then in turn, I think that's a detriment to our society. So, I don't know.
This is the last thing I'll say on it. I promise, because I want to see the rest of the video. But most people in power, most people in money, right? We just discussed it. Most CEOs, most, I don't know, team owners or company owners or whatever. Most of them are men. But not most men are CEOs.
Right.
Right. I work in middle management, I guess, whatever. I'm assistant manager. Like
flexing.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because hear my point. I'm an assistant manager in the service department. I work in auto field.
Yeah.
I serve. I'm like, it's like a retail manager. I help people, right? So does my manager. And we take shit. It's pretty much our job is to take shit. There's a certain point where it's like, okay, this is here no more. It's like, all right, like we'll take it and we'll take it until we have to say, no, absolutely not. This has to stop. I can't help you. You have to leave, right? But for most men, the situation is not like we're talking about a masculine energy, men being aggressive and cutthroat. Like that's a characteristic of masculinity. I'm going to argue that it's not. I'm gonna argue that like that really, like, yeah, we did occasionally will display aggressiveness, will display like a sternness, I don't take shit attitude, but it's for a purpose and it's absolutely when you have to, right? So when I see someone who kind of just has that energy, I don't attribute that to masculinity. That's just me. Because I don't think that's the norm. I think we do it when we have to, but most of the time, being stoic is masculine.
But see, that's the
thing. And I think it would be weird to describe it as feminine and say, hey, women need to take more shit. Like, you know what I mean?
That's I think you are off, right? I've said it too. There's layers. There's layers to it.
Okay.
Right? Because it's ridiculous what you're saying, right? Because when people say when someone describes you, someone aggressive, maybe not you, but most men would say men. Even women would say men, right? If you say violent, well, they would say men, right? If you would say stoic, yeah, they would say men. It's like there are layers to men, right?
Right.
Let's say this, right? It's funny that you said that, where it's weird, but men there was this, again, a study, but I'm not quoting nothing, so you can check it if you want, right? I'm talking to the audience. Men are weird in the sense that they hold the spectrum. Men are at the extremes of any spectrum. So let's say this: the most violent are usually men. The most, stoic are usually men. It's just like men are so weird in the sense that we are always at the spectrum. So the most smartest, at the top, the pinnacle, right? And I'm not saying women aren't smart, but it's at the top. Usually could be women. I mean, usually could be men, but maybe at the stupidest, right? I'm not saying women can't be stupid because I'm saying they could, or they usually are. But at the pinnacle of stupidity would be men. It's just that men are weird in the sense that we have such.
We seem to be the most extreme examples of.
Yeah, we are. Men are usually hold to the extremist of examples. So that's why I said, like, of course, I'm not saying like me and you come off violent. We're not coming off aggressive, shit like that. But again, we can't put the world on our shoulders, right? It's just I know how it is in general. You're lying to yourself if you said that okay, aggression is not a part of masculinity, and masculinity is not just two people in these two rooms, me and you, right? We're not the necessary definition of masculinity, but you'll be lying to yourself if you're not saying throughout history, throughout recorded history of mankind, aggression is not attributed to men. Okay, and I'm not saying women can't be aggressive, right? Not saying that. This is the things, but aggression is attributed to men. Stoicism is attributed to men too, right? But again, this is not the difference where I'm saying women to take up shit. But again, this is the thing where we may be lacking in critical thinking, that there is power to femininity, right? I will say this, right? The most powerful men, they can still be controlled by a woman, right? They can still be destroyed by a woman too. Jeff Bezos, right? Although I'm not saying he's the most powerful, but he was one of the most richest men. Literally, his wife was able to become one of the richest women in the world by pretty much destroying him. Okay? This is the thing where women have the powers themselves, but they use it differently. That's why I said femininity has its own powers or its own characteristics, right? And you can use it the way you want, or how truly people are. You don't have to take shit for being a woman, right? But you don't have to be aggressive to like not take shit. No, you don't. So I think we'll probably move on so you can see the clip. But what?
It feels like it just feels like sometimes when we talk about masculinity and femininity, depending on which side of the argument you're on, we take the worst parts of masculinity. When we see a woman doing something, we take the worst parts of masculinity and apply it to them. You're being masculine, and the parts of femininity that we like is when they're being feminine, and vice versa, right? When men are when men are being however they're being, if a woman doesn't like the way a man's acting, you know, he's feminine, he's a bitch, right? And right, and when a woman might portray herself, you know what I'm saying? I think we apply the best characteristics to ourselves and the worst to the opposite. And I think it goes both ways. And I think that has a lot to do with what we're about to watch in this video. When they like listen to her talk about the video, and I don't want to just spend time talking about, because I mean she's not the object of our.
No, we're using her, but we're just talking about deeper things.
Right. But I want to, but listen to what she says, and listen to their discussion about female rap artists, and then let's discuss.
Okay.
Because I don't know if. I don't know. I think we're seeing differences that aren't there.
I can continue, but let's just continue.
Okay.
I was like, first of all, I said we rob niggas, we whip bricks, and we I was like, and we hit licks in this car.
Tef was like,
whole lot of gang shit.
Teffy, I
Niggas sell pussy, whip bricks, and hit licks in my vehicle. Having said that.
okay, Tef. All right. But, and I don't want to say but. Let me go to some of these comments. Alicia says, let's not act like ratchet music is new. It ain't.
Why is the music detrimental to black women when it's women singing it and not when it's fucking men doing it?
Now,
Niggas love to run to the dance.
Okay, you want us to answer that question, or you want to continue watching it?
I mean, go ahead. Yeah, talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what she said, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's she, her question. Why is it a detriment when women are singing it, but men have been singing it for years, right? The detriment is men haven't been complaining about it for years, right? Men haven't been complaining about in general, right? It hasn't been the loudest of voice. They weren't complaining about, the gangster rap, the misogyny that we see in rap music, right? The sexual objectification of women. We weren't complaining about it. Men weren't. Men weren't the ones who were objecting to it. Women were. Women, black women, said, "Oh, you only, even women in general, right? You only view me as sexual objects." Okay, you're right. You're right. Those things were. So now women, I said in other things. It's funny. When men objectify women, it's a problem. When women objectify women, it's liberation. No, it's delusion. It's hypocrisy. It don't make sense. Because objectification is objectification. It don't matter what gender, what race you are, right? And if you complain about it, but yet you are the one who do it, you are a hypocrite. We've done a video before. Derek Jackson, the infamous panda bear of all, for all women, right?
Mm-hmm.
The man that says a man that cheats is a terrible man. You go, queen. And yet he's the man that cheated on his wife and destroyed his marriage. And yet women were championing him. That's what I'm saying. Women are delusional. Okay? Women don't understand the hypocrisy that they are living in. People are in uproar is that how can you say it is wrong to objectify women, and then when women objectify women, you call it liberation. You call it freedom, sexual freedom. What is it then? So only you can objectify women. Only you can show women in a sexual, no different than a man, right? A sexual light, right? And those videos were very sexual. No different. If it was a man, I wouldn't have been surprised if a man did that. So you pretty much said it is okay for me to sell my body if a woman is the one who's selling it. If a man is selling a woman's body, that is wrong. Where's the sense in that, right? It's always said, two wrongs don't make a right. You doing the exact same thing does not make it better, right? What is like this? Just like race, right? If a white person is racist towards you, and you complain about a white person being racist, and then you take turn that you're being the racist person towards a white person, and I believe black people can be racist, right? The hypocrisy in that is unbelievable. So it's the thing where you show the bigger. I personally think where you show the bigger self. Where if women are complaining about men are being sexist, why not? That's why I said what was it? We did the video about it. It's not her name. Oh God, we did a video about older women being sexualized a little while back. The singer. I forgot her name.
Janelle Monáe.
Janelle Monáe, right?
Okay.
Where I've said it before, she came out with talent, right? Showing talent. I didn't even think sexualization, right? Showing talent and skill. Why not just do that? This is the problem where when women, it's just like, I don't understand where you are showing, like, let's say your vocals, your talent, dancing ability, shit like that, right? where you are making your name off of your talent, right? So not your body. Excuse me. You're not making your name off of your body. You're not getting news off of your body. You're getting your career was on your talent. Okay? That's what I'm saying, where that shows you, right? That shows now. I think that's more liberating for women than now you're pretty much showing off your body. What's the difference between you and a man doing it now, right? When the men were showing off other women's body, right? When the men were pushing young talent to be overly sexual so they can get views and record sales and shit like that. What's the difference? When women were complaining about these creepy old men telling me to wear skimpy clothes, show off my breasts, show off my ass. But now you're 50. I mean, you're 40, you're 50, whatever. You're showing off your breasts, you're showing off your ass anyway. So really, it's like you're trying to sell yourself off of sexual imagery. This is the thing where I've said it before, women live in their hypocrisy. Women live in their delusion. Okay?
So I think there's like, all right. So there's two things. One, it matters how much control you have over what you decide to express, right? That's one. So if I want to say something about myself, that's okay. If I want to say something about my brother, if I want to say something about you, like, man, Dan's nuts. Dan always talking this mess, right? But if somebody else who we don't know tries to say it about you, I can get in his face because you're my friend. You're not his, right? I can be self-deprecating. I can make joke fun about myself, right? But if someone I don't know starts making fun about me, it's an insult because I don't have any control over that, right? So you're taking away my control over what's mine. You don't get to do that. That's one. Two, when we talk about like what you just said, women are sexualizing their bodies the same way men sexualize their bodies, is what you're saying. That's an unfair comparison. And let me explain. Because when women rap and the same things, and they're saying the same things in their raps now that men have always been saying in their raps, the women aren't just sexualizing themselves. They're sexualizing men. And when men rapped, they weren't just sexualizing women. They were sexualizing themselves too. And the difference is we never check the men for sexualizing themselves, right? The women didn't like being sexualized by the men. But now we're checking the women for both. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's unfair. If it's okay for the man to sexualize himself, if it's okay for the Yang Yang twins to have the whisper tongue and talk about, where do you see my dick? Right? If it's okay for LL Cool J, right? And the baby to be talking about how good their sex game is, right? If it's okay for Biggie and Jay-Z and now Lil Uzi Vert, and I know it's different because he's gay, but Lil Nas X, whatever, to flaunt their bodies and their sexual ability, then when a woman does it, that she's doing the same thing. So that's the equal comparison. What the man is doing to himself in his rap songs is what the woman is doing to themselves in the rap songs. And when the man is talking about a woman in his rap songs, he's sexualizing her. These women are sexualizing the men in their rap songs. And I think that's really what bothers people. I think that's the real, I think most people, whether they'll say it or not, I think that's most people's real problem with the music, because Megan Thee Stallion doesn't just rap about how big her booty is and what she can do in bed. She raps about, she's like, oh man, what's the lyrics? I'm trying to remember the lyrics. But essentially she'll say the same thing a rapper will say. I fuck him and leave him. Right? And Megan will say, I'll ride his dick and I'll forget his name. It's the same line, right? But so it's not fair to say these women are hypocrites because they're doing the same thing to themselves that men were doing to them. The right comparison is they're doing the same thing the men were doing across the board. So they can talk about themselves because the men were talking about themselves the whole time, and we never blinked an eye. We still don't.
But that's the thing, right? You see that I think you're getting it confused, right? I think you're getting it wrong. The issue is, I said it. Women throughout the whole time, they have been complaining about being sexualized. That's the issue. Let me say this, right? Men have never been complaining. I personally believe men are not complaining about being sexualized in videos. Men don't. I don't. Personally, I don't think men care, right?
No.
But I don't think so. But the problem is men bring up the hypocrisy of it, right? Men will say this: how can you support women being like the WAP song, right? Right, with the Cardi and Megan, right? How can you honestly think a woman talking about her private parts, right? Women are championing that song, dancing that song, loving that song, championing it. How can you champion that song when and it has happened, a man flipping that around who's singing about a woman's private part, right? And yet you call that misogynistic. You call that, toxic masculinity. You call that disgusting. You call that objectification of women. And yet, women are. That's what I believe. And I've read these comments, right? I've read the comments like on these videos and stuff. That's what men say. That okay, how can you honestly say one point where it's objectification if men do it, right? But it's liberating when women do it. That's what I believe men talk about. That's what I believe men, complain about. The hypocrisy of it. Not because, they complain about what? Men having good D game? Who cares?
They're missing a point. The woman wants control of herself. Do you see what I'm saying? So
I understand that point. But, I the first point you said, right? I see the point you were talking about, the control over your image or whatever. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I agree with it.
Right? But what I'm saying is like, all right, so take WAP for instance. It's not the song is about a woman. I'm not trying to make it sound deeper than it is. I'm not saying it's a deep song. I'm not saying it's philosophically like, wow, this is so deep. No, but it really is about a woman taking control of her body. That's what it is.
I understand the song.
That's my point. So men are like, oh, you're just sexualizing and objectifying yourself. No, she's saying I do what I want with my private parts. That's what she's saying. That's the song in a nutshell. I do what I want with my pussy. That's what a woman is saying. And
what she's doing, men like. Let's say this. She's saying like what she's. You're right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. That I'm not saying the idea is wrong. That okay, yeah, she's saying that she took the power herself. But it's funny. Your power is thinking that you're having sex with like a whole bunch of men. That's your. I control it now. I control it. I control my pee. I control my pussy. By having, I'm giving it to all these men. I'm popping that pussy all the time, right? And yet, if a man's saying like, these women, they're popping the pussy to me, okay? They want to. It's like this is not forced. They're controlling they're controlling their pussy. They want to pop the pussy to me, right? To Lil Wayne, to Drake, to Jay-Z, to all these women chose to pop it to them. Okay, this is the thing ridiculous that this is the thing where I said, right? It is great. I understand. I don't say that I don't. I disagree. I don't disagree with like, okay, fine, you have control of your body now, right? Now you choose who you want to do it with or all this thing, right? You control over it. But when you control over it, it's no different than, before. Then then it's like, okay, what was the point? Because like I said, right? If men were talking about, yeah, women popping the pussy to every man, right? Or a bunch of men back in the day. And that was objectification. Now women are saying that they pop their pussy to all these men, but they're saying that they want to do it. How is that even another level better? Why? This is what I'm saying, where in the beginning I was saying like this, right? How I said that it's the poison to the black community, right? How, look at this, right? You want to take the power, but you are pretty much using the power the exact same way. You're not any better. So like I was saying, right, where racism, to combat racism is not to be racist to other people who are racist against you. No, it's to educate and to show people that you're better than that. I personally believe that's how you combat racism in one way, where, you know what, it's like, I don't need to be racist to you. I'm better than that. And this is the thing where I want to say with women is that this is the thing where you don't have to be a sexual object to men, right? Because you took back your body, your sexual freedom. This is the thing where I think is ridiculous with women, right? Is that, okay, I have my sexual freedom back, right? I can have sex with a whole bunch of men. What? There's no different than before then. You know, that's the thing where, no, I have my freedom back. I choose to have sex with only a man of value. I'm not going to give it to every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Yeah, but hold on. That's what we want them to do. You see what I'm saying? Right? Guys, what did the guys on Fresh and Fit talk about all the time? You got to have sex with like 50 women before you can settle down with one, right? Right? If guys are out here having all kinds of experiences, maybe a woman is like, well, then I gotta have all kinds of experiences to know how to please my man.
I love it.
In reverse, and then it's not okay.
You know what? No, I love that you said that, right? I love that you said that, because this is why I love our dynamic. You get, like, I hate talking to, I hate talking to the camera by myself. Right? It gets me nowhere.
Uh-huh.
I'm so happy you said that, right? I can tell you this, right? For the detractors, right? For people who are so negative on, let's say, men's podcasts, Fresh and Fit, all this stuff, right? You're not critically thinking. You have to understand, right? Let's say when Fresh and Fit say men should have sex with multiple women, right? That don't negate. They also said they look at a man and said, you need to have sex with a lot of women to gain a lot of experience. They look at a woman. You need to be very selective on who you give your body to. You need to pick the right man to give your body to. Two seemingly different advices, right? Seemingly different advices. They would contradict each other, but that's fine, right? Because these are advices. They're not commands, right? They're not something that they're forcing onto you. You have to give advice that benefits the person, right? So he gave Fresh and Fit, he gave an advice, right? Fit gave an advice to benefit men. And that advice, it will disadvantage women. But he has given an advice to women, right? That kind of disadvantage men, right? This is the thing where he said it. You probably haven't seen it, but I've seen it. He said to a woman, right, that this is, I give advice to men, right? If you ask me for advice, I will tell you, don't just give it out to, don't just be very sexually selective, right? Give it out to the man of value, man that you would, that's the best for you, right? Man that, they said, don't have children out of wedlock, be very, don't be promiscuous, shit like that. So that's why that's what it said. Two truths can exist, right? That's just how it is. And I believe that too. I would definitely, I'm not, and personally, right? what he says, like, I would say differently. I don't necessarily believe men should be so experienced. It's just needless, right? 50 is like ridiculous, right? But see, that's the thing. You don't. That's the thing where I'm saying where we talk about it, right? I just said it. We need to be adults. That's the problem. We're not. We're being sheep. You don't just blindly listen to anybody you hear. You listen to it, you process it, you critically think about it. Okay? When he says one thing, it don't mean that, okay, I'm going to shit on women. No, it don't mean like that. Right? When people say, but that's the difference between people nowadays, right? When they say one thing, they're shitting on the other thing. That's not how it works, and that's how I want to promote it. Not necessarily. I'm not saying like, okay, oh, women are stupid because I'm shitting on women. No, I'm saying women are stupid because I want women to critically think better, to critically to gain their femininity better, right? Control their femininity in a sense, right? Where I've said it. Why can't you be a woman and be a woman in the modern day and age, right? Be truly feminine in the modern day and age and not need to be a man, not to be the aggressiveness of a man, not to have the characteristics of a man. And that's the thing. I want to see a woman, right, show true femininity and just have that aura of herself. And that, I think that'd be amazing. And that's what I'm talking about, right? Where I don't want women to sometimes fall into this trap, this propaganda trap that's happening right now. And I think women are. I don't think women are stupid, right? In that sense. I don't think so. But I think women are stupid in the sense that they're falling for that trap. And they don't have to. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. No, I get it. Dude, like the same advice won't apply to two different situations. So
correct.
I see your point. I see your
yes.
Point. And to be clear, when I argue the opposite, I'm not saying that like if I had kids, I'd be like, yeah, go listen to Cardi B and Meg rap. That's not what I'm saying either, or that the music is necessarily the greatest thing for society. But what I am saying is, if I feel that way about their music, I have to immediately feel that way about the music that they learned. They about the music they were taught to make music from, right? And men were doing the same thing. So I can't say, hey, what Big and Jay-Z and now what and Lil Wayne were rapping about is a good influence on my son, but what the ladies are rapping about are a bad influence on my daughter. If what those ladies are rapping about is a bad influence, it's a bad influence across the board.
But see, you hit the, like I said, you hit the nail on the head, right? That's the point. Okay. I say the exact same thing. If you are against what men say, I 100% agree with you, right? 100% agree with you. If you are against what men said, then you better be against what women say. But that's what I'm saying. To be honest, right? I personally believe I liked Kanye when he came out, right? Because he wasn't rapping out, bitches and hoes and money like that. I love Eminem because he wasn't rapping about shit like that. I love different. I mean,
he was, but yeah, but I feel.
I mean, his shit was different, but I mean, like, I prefer that shit. Then again, I don't necessarily I'm not. I what didn't draw me like the NWA whatever, all those old school rap talking about gangster lifestyle shit, that never drew me. So I don't know about you, but that's not the rap that I love, right? That's not the rap that I love.
I hear you.
Right? So because to be honest, I like it that rappers use skill and use originality, right? Talking about the ugliness of the black community, although I think that should be a genre, right? Because you should rap about life and all that shit. Kendrick Lamar, that guy. See, that's what I'm saying. That guy, I love, right? He talks about the shit that's happened in what was it, like Compton and like California and shit like that. That's what I'm talking about, right? It's not surface level bitches and hoes and shooting other black people, and it's not surface level shit.
Right.
It's pure artistry, right? That's what I'm talking about. Now that
I think it would be. I know. We might be straying a little bit. It might be a good idea to have like a hip hop episode.
Oh, okay. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that.
That might be cool.
Okay.
I will say. So, like, when you go back to like NWA and like F the Police and stuff like that.
I mean, that's what I said. That's why I said that there should be a. I mean, there is a subgenre because it does make sense, right? You know, the Game for Life. I mean, shit like that. I do understand that.
They were rapping about like their real life, but I do think that it kind of eventually people started to glorify it.
Yes. That's the thing, right? Yeah.
That part.
It feels like different life, right? You're not talking about life. You're just like you're loving that life, right? You're making it seem like, okay, yeah, we should all like hold out your gun and like you're glorifying it, right? You're making it seem like it's you're right. That's the point where I'm talking about where you overstep the bounds where it's not you're not preaching about the sadness and the hurtfulness of that life. Now you're just like, oh, I love it, right? The bitches whole shooting up my rival gangster, shit like that. That's what I'm talking. Yeah, we should do that.
That'd be a good idea. That'd be a cool show.
We'll see. Oh, yo, you should set it up. We can have some talks and
I can line some stuff up. I can line some
You got that's what I'm saying. You gotta line some shit up, man. You gotta line anything up. But I know you're busy. All right, we'll continue.
For when Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 and the 2000s, he is somehow the downfall of rap music.
Now hold on. Brittany says, I absolutely would not allow my daughter to listen to the music. So for it to be said that she misguiding black women, I'm grown. I cannot be guided in any direction I do not want to go.
Period.
So it's not just Sexy Red. Sukihana.
That was stupid. That was a stupid comment.
You didn't agree with it?
Misguided? Even adults can be misguided. So this is where self-accountability is lost on some women or most women. You can be affected on what you do, right? That's common human beings, right?
But isn't she taking accountability when she says I do what I want? So if she ends up,
I mean, no, yeah, okay, that's accountability, but you can be misguided, right? You did what you want. I 100% agree. All humans, all adults, do what you want, but do not disregard that you can be guided towards that direction as well. So I think that's foolish. That was a stupid comment.
Ice Spice. But actually, you taking deep breaths. Hold on.
Oh, you think Ice Spice is cute?
Huh? Yeah, okay. Yeah, she's not ugly. She's definitely our little red fro.
Yeah. I'll top that.
You saw it and greased my lips up. I'm ready.
I see that you look because you about to cut somebody fuck out. I just don't want it to be me. Sukihana was just pulled to the side by Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar says, sister, with your platform, we pimps and hoes and commit crimes and violence. Dr. Umar pulled Sukihana aside and says, Sister Suki, I'd like to talk to you. With your platform, you could be doing so much more positivity instead of talking about, hold on, just let me get.
I didn't say anything.
Because I know you. You ready to go.
Because when a nigga in his mom's basement I'm
gonna let you go. See, the sad part, Dr. Umar lives in Philadelphia, and we know the real Dr. Umar. But
what's the real one? What does that mean?
You know, he lives in his basement with his mom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a long story. We can get into it later. But I'm familiar with.
I didn't know he lived in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He live right in the hood. Right in the hood.
Really?
I know people who see him on a regular basis who dealt with him.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I should not see him because I don't really like him like that.
He says, Sister Suki, you could do more positively with your image and platform instead of talking about eating somebody's ass. And you could be a better role model to young black women and young black girls. And Sukiyana met with Dr. Umar, had a conversation.
Thank you for charging.
And talked about toning things down. Now, Suki is well known for talking about she would let, you know, P. Diddy piss on her. She definitely was famous from her OnlyFans where she tried to say she squirted, but it looked like Flint water came out of it. And she's done some excessively not new, but explicit things.
Oh my God, today.
So, Teffy, what do you say to Dr. Umar?
Get up out your mammy basement before you start worrying about what other bitches do with their platform. How about you build yours first?
You just gonna come right at Umar.
What I'm saying is, get out your mammy basement. When you took them people money and ain't put a brick to that fucking school you supposed to be building, but you worried about what her platform doing and what she teaching folks, but you couldn't get your school to teach young boys how to be men on the ground, let alone off the ground. That's what we doing.
Antonio says his daughters are not allowed to listen to that music in his home.
In your home, which is fine. As a parent, that is fine. As a parent of a special needs child with a speech delay, I fully hate to realize that I did not want him mimicking those speech patterns, no matter what we do in listen.
So there is a negative impact.
That there for speech. Only because I didn't want him. I didn't want him.
You didn't want him yelling out "eat the
like
nigga ass" in the middle of preschool,
right? Which is with fair. I didn't say his dad didn't have a point. What I said was, this is what we do in my vehicle. Mine's the fucking business. He had a point. I let him have.
I guess you gotta show that, right? That's the aggressiveness, right? Even if you agree with someone, you have to be aggressive. That's what black men are talking about. So, you know, even in your life, you're experiencing what black men are talking about, right? You have. This is a woman. Again, this is surface level. Okay, I'm not trying to attack her, but this is what in general, black men are talking about, right? Even if, like she said out her mouth, even if he was right, she would still have to disagree with him and, you know, curse him out or whatever, right? This is the thing where what men are talking about. So I just want to make that a point. She said it.
Having said that, black men, when they say black men are the white people of the black community, that is so true.
There's validity.
You gonna let me go or no?
Right.
Because when y'all was talking about pimping hoes and shaking ass, selling drugs to your cousins, mothers, brothers, whoever, y'all wasn't a detriment to black men. Y'all wasn't bringing down black society. But the second that women decide that we gonna sell our own coochies and pimp niggas with our own bricks, now we're the fucking problem. You mean how white people decided we were lazy the second we stopped working for free? So now that we're no longer letting you objectify and talk shit about us, now we're the problem. Oh, okay, that's fine. It's not though, because fuck you and mind your fuck ass business. Like, if you don't want your daughters listening to that, that's cool. My mother fucking flat out whole ass embarrassed me because I was singing the thong song at like 13 years old, didn't even fucking know what the song was, and didn't have no business singing that song. That is your prerogative as a parent. I'm not letting my child listen to that. That's cool. And you can say what you want to say about that. However, as a grown ass bitch at the big age of 35, another bitch can't guide me fucking nowhere. I'm not already trying to fucking go. If y'all so worried about how black women and more leadership, maybe y'all should stop trying to lead us into the fucking ground and get real jobs and be real ass fucking men before you worried about where we going and what we doing. Because let it never not be understated, that black women are the single most educated and entrepreneurial demographic.
God, this I'm sorry. I don't know how you can have this friend as your friend. See,
She is
first
not
of all, women
saying
are not the most educated.
okay.
She is. God, I don't want to be disrespectful to your friend, right?
Please don't. Yeah.
But you need to correct her if you ever hear this bullshit that she said. Black women are not the most educated. They are the most enrolled. Okay? Two different things. Being enrolled in college more than black men does not mean you're smarter nor you're more educated. Okay? So that's the ridiculousness of black women. They use that stat to make it seem like they're better or smarter. You're not. Okay? You're just more enrolled into college. That doesn't include if you finish college or you have a degree or you become something. It isn't necessarily having a college degree does not make you so much more educated or so much more, so much more smarter than another man. Okay, it don't. Okay, this is the delusion of women. Okay, and like, the more you see of her, the more man comes out in her.
Well, listen, her personality is her personality, especially on this show.
It's that's what I'm saying. But again, it goes what I'm saying, right?
Platform
where the aggressiveness is like tone it down. It's like,
but no, to be angry.
No, she's fine. But I'm saying, like, this is what I'm saying, where you don't understand that this is what black men see. This is the image that you portray. But it's fine. But it's ridiculous that this is what also black men will talk about too, where how she divide black men, how she shit on black men, calling them the white people of black white men, the white people of the black culture is like redonkulous. It is utterly disgusting, right? It is utterly. This is what I'm saying, where you just shitted on black men, and you saying for men to get a job. Statistically, black men still make more than black women. Statistically, this is what I'm saying. Where I'm sorry, but education did not help her, or did not help black women in general. Because why? Because they're feeding on propaganda. Statistically, right? You can look it up. Still to this day, black men make more than black women in general. So really, who needs to get a job? You need the one, right? You need to get paid more. This is the thing where this is what I'm saying, right? Where I said that black women are the ones who are destroying black community, because it's not. I said, although they're stupid, it's not because I don't want them better. They're stupid because they're feeding into this propaganda, this feminist shit that's poisoned them. Right? All the crap I'm sorry, right? As much as you love your friend, everything she says is feminism talking points that's poisoned her. And it's not even correct. Shit she says is not correct.
And we're talking about the subject. We're not talking about her. We don't want to make her the object.
I'm talking about the thing she says, right? Okay.
But if she says, let me just ask you this. When you said women are stupid, they're feeding on propaganda, are you talking about all women?
Most women.
When she says, and I can tell you this for a fact, I know it, and you can listen to it in the context of the conversation. When she says, you niggas need to stop worrying about us and get real jobs. Who's she talking about? All men? She knows me. She knows I got a real job. She's talking about the group of men who are worried about the music she's listening to and what she's doing with her body.
But you can imagine that.
Might have better things to worry about.
But let me say this, right? Perfect. You use that perfect. I personally believe, right? The men that worry about that, or the morally sound men that actually have jobs, men that are stand on their principles, men that actually care for women, right? I believe those are the men that, believe in monogamy, believe in marriage, believe in commitment. I believe those are the type of men. Men that, let's say this, right? Let's say the players, the bad boys, the men that are having sex with all these women that objectify themselves, men that are benefiting on women being so sexually liberated, they don't give a shit. Keep it coming. Keep the the sexualization of women coming, right? Keep the pussy popping coming, because they're benefiting off of it. They're taking. This is what I'm thinking, right? You don't understand. Men that don't have a job, men that live off of women, men that take advantage of women, they are living off of the women that are sexualizing themselves. Why? Because they have access to it, right? That's why I said the people don't understand. You are ignorant. Certain women are ignorant to that notion. The men that care are the men that actually think better. They think women should not be sexually objectified, right? They think women should be that the woman's body is a temple. That women deserves better. I personally believe that, right? Because like you got although it's not backed by study, but it's backed by, let's say, an educated guess. You tell me, the men that have sex with a lot of women, the men that have no problems with women, the men that are getting it done, right? Having these craziness with women, they wouldn't care, right? Why would they care? Why would they care the sexual objectification of women? Why? They're benefiting off of it. They're loving it, right? They're hitting those songs themselves. They're playing those songs themselves, right? So those type of men, imagine what those type of men are. You think those type of men are morally sound? No, they can't be. You think those men are committed? Men are committed minded? No, they cannot be, right? You think those men are marriage minded? No, they're not. They're not. So really, logically speaking, this is where I said, use critical thinking. Okay? What type of men she's talking about? She doesn't even know herself.
I think there's more men than you realize who kind of use it as a front. I'm not saying you're wrong, but there's also men who don't. How do you say? Just hypocrites, right? There's plenty of men who run the streets and do their own thing and come home to a woman, right? Who complains about what they do, who might leave them, or if they haven't left them yet, or if they're talking bad about him, right, to his face, like, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're acting up, and they're not earning respect, and they're complaining about the way their woman acts at home, but they're running the streets with other women. There are guys who have it both ways, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm telling you, not every man who's like women should be more feminine are morally sound men. They're out doing the same thing too, but they're also they want their cake and they want to eat it too.
Okay,
and plenty of guys like that. And
okay, that's yeah.
And for instance, and I'm not saying that he's one of these people, but when she brought up Umar, that was the point she was making, right? Like Umar is telling this other woman what to do with her platform when he's not doing very much with his own, right? Right. So that's the specific group of people she's talking about. You see what I'm saying? People who are willing to step out and tell other people how to be better without working on themselves. Okay. And there is a large amount of people like that. So we have this saying, and I'm just explaining the way I understand her and what she's talking about, right? There's this saying, hit dogs holler, right? In fact, I think they use it later in the show. One of the guys, maybe. I think, in fact, yeah, it was Jay. He says it later on in the clip. Whether we get to it or not, it doesn't matter. But he says, if you throw a stone into a crowd of dogs, the one that yelps is the one you hit. So if she's talking about a specific set of people and I get upset about it, it might be because it applies to me. You see what I'm saying? I make a big deal about it. It could be because I really need to work on myself. I could be one of those niggas with no job, worrying about, a homosexual, hang out at my girl's house and not carrying my weight, right? And concerned about what everybody else is doing, because that's the specific group she's talking to. That's all I'm saying.
But let me look. That argument has a fallacy to it, right?
Okay.
There's a fallacy to that argument.
Okay.
I do understand what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. People use that again, like they said, if it doesn't apply to you, then
don't apply. Let it apply. Right.
Yeah,
right.
But you gotta think about this, right? That same argument, that same example, right? Kind of idea. A lot of people use it. Let's say this, right? Where they said like, they said men are violent people. Men are the most violent. But it's like, then if men complain about it, what? So that means, I didn't say all men. I don't need to say all. But if it doesn't apply to you, then it's not you. See, but that's the thing, right? Where there's the fallacy to it, where you paint a picture that if you're not necessarily clear about, it's like you are kind of like innuendo. I guess you can use innuendo. It's just like it's
that it applies to all men.
Yeah, because you gotta think. That they're using that as an argument. Okay, I didn't say all men. If you're offended because then it must be applied to you. No, but that's the difference where you're not thinking straight. Where if plenty of people will correct me too, right, in my videos, and I get it, right. If there's a certain point, right. I know creators do shit to get the people emotion rallying, so I understand that. I'm not saying that she's wrong in that sense. I'm saying that's fine too, right? But I'm saying that because then certain arguments have a fallacy to it. You can't just say, men need to get a job, okay, whatever, right? Saying like, when you blanket statement certain things, right, and then you use the defense of if it's not you, then you shouldn't be offended by it. That's a straw man's argument, right? I believe, but at least there's a fallacy to it, where because you don't understand the implications you're making.
Yeah,
and I think that's going about it a wrong way. Okay, like I said, right, where I can say women, because when I say women, right,
mm-hmm. I
personally believe it is the majority. Okay, so let's say this, right? When she says, oh God, what'd she say? Black men are the white man's equivalent, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a blanket statement. So in her mind, she better believe it's the majority of black men. Okay, she better believe the majority of black men are pretty much white men's in disguise. If not, then her argument is a fallacy, right? Her argument is pretty much just blatantly wrong to push buttons, for no reason. If I said this, right, I believe, most women, or I believe women are delusional. I can tell you for sure, I personally believe most women are delusional. That's how it is. And I will back that up, right? If I say women are cheaters, I wouldn't say that, because I don't necessarily believe most women are cheaters. I don't believe that. I believe women do cheat. I personally believe women cheat more than men, but I don't believe, because I've never experienced a girlfriend or girl I've been with cheated on me. So really it's like, I'm not bringing like I don't go about like that. I don't say. I mean, God forbid I've ever said in my videos that women are cheaters, because I don't necessarily believe majority, right? When I say something like that, it's not necessarily a blatant statement, right? And so I think a lot of things she says is wrong, because I personally believe when you say certain things, you better believe majority, right? If you say patriarchy, well, you better believe it's true, and you better prove it's true, because it's not, right? If you believe black men are white man shit, then you better believe most black men are that, and that's effing wrong. I don't believe that, right? I believe, this is why I said I believe black men are suffering more than black women. They are suffering more, right? Because they are raised by these trauma-filled, these delusional, this hypocrite, single mother black women. They're raising these poor black men and destroying these black men. Okay? I believe not just the black women are putting them down, I believe society is putting them down. I believe no one cares for these black men. Okay? And that's why I said it, right? Where I stand with my black brothers. Because I see this, right? Even the black women are putting them down. Right? You're not raising up black men. You're not pushing them up to be better. No. You are insulting them continuously. Okay? You are putting these terrible propagandas, these ideologies on black men's shoulder when they don't deserve it. And I think here's a black woman doing exactly that. Although how great she is, how nice she is, whatever she is a person, but she does not understand. She is perpetuating these terrible ideologies for black men, right? Like I said, black men make more than black women in general. So really, they're not living in their mother's basement in general. Okay, so really, fine. I don't like Dr. Umar either. I think the guy's a charlatan, a two-faced man, right? I think that, but that don't mean that I think he's like other black men. I think he's maybe a rare subset of black men, but he's a rare subset of men in general. I don't think men in general lives in their mother's basement. This is what I think, where I hate it. I don't like these notions that women are pushing onto average men because they hear these feminism talking points, right? They hear these societal, ideologies that is pushing onto men, and that's the problem, right? Because men they don't need to. This is the thing where men don't even need to go to college. Because why? I believe that's even smarter, right? Men are being smarter because they don't need to pick on the debt of college, but they are going into fields of like trades. More men, right, are deciding not to go to college and actually switching into trades, and that's a smart ass shit thing to do, right? Well, how high college is? Seriously, we went to college. It was like the money was different back in the day.
Yeah.
Even in our days.
Still
right?
Yeah.
So this is one thing where this is the problem where how is it that an Asian guy is trying to push up good ideologies of black men when their own black woman is pushing out the bad shit?
This is just a clip, right?
No, I know. Yeah. I can take her out of it. I've seen it plenty of times, right? It's not, again, it just so happens to be her, right? Just so happens to be her. But this is not the point. It's not even, she's a faceless person to me. But I'm talking about her ideologies, right? Her thinking is nothing new. You look it on TikTok, you look it on Facebook, you look it on YouTube, whatever. She's a dime a dozen, right? Black women are saying the exact same thing that she says. That's the thing. I'm not pointing at her because I hate her. No, I'm pointing at her is because she is reiterating the talking point of the black feminism movement, right? I think that's the thing where if you don't see it right, in a lot of the videos, black men are suffering. They are saying the things they're tired of it. They're walking away, right? And that is sad for the black community, where black men are like, I'm done. I'm tired. I'd rather be single, or I'd rather go overseas and find a different woman, which is like one of the things where I don't, maybe we talked about it, or maybe you don't know, but it's like by dating app statistics, black women are the most least desirable woman from dating statistics, right? Gathered dating statistics. You look at OkCupid, you look at I don't know, all these other things, Plenty of Fish, all these other dating apps, right? Black women are the least desirable race. You look at the statistics where black women are the most unmarried demographic. I'm not, and I can tell you this, I love black women. I literally do. I date predominantly black women. So people may, like, if you are watching, you probably think, I hate black women. I want them dead. No, I don't. I actually love black women. I think they're beautiful, right? It's the issue is that, they're being at a detriment to themselves, right? And I get it, right? Maybe they're the strong, independent self that they've nurtured and grown, right, has been such a detriment to themselves, right? It doesn't attract men like that. So I don't know. I just think that I want to say things that, because it's depressing to see that I'm hearing all these statistics and all these studies, right, that shows that black women are just, it's funny, they're growing in single motherhood and decreasing in marriagehood, right? In marriage unions. That's not a good stat. That's not a good outcome. So, these are things where I say things and not because I want to tear down black women. No, is that I want to lift them out of this propaganda hole, this way of thinking. Her, again, she may be a great person, but her persona that she's presenting, right, is a persona that many black women present, right? And it is funny that, and you know what? It would have been more telling if she was married for years and showed me that, okay, maybe, maybe I'm wrong, right? This persona that she has, well, maybe there is a black guy that loves it. But for her to be a baby mama, it kind of shows me that, well, okay, this persona, at least one black man couldn't stand it for long. So,
all right.
Okay, but like, again, even if I take her face, I'll put another black woman's face on it. It don't change. The mirror is not changing, right? Yes, okay, it may seem like I'm attacking her, but again, I'm more attacking the persona because you should watch it too. I have, like I said, the Kendra G's singles reaction, right? I could flip her face onto another black woman, or I could flip another black woman's face onto her. No different, right? No different. Okay, that's the thing. That's the situation, and that's why maybe our next episode or something, right? Where we do a couple, because this got long. where we could do a couple of them. I'll tell you, she is not anything special. That's the problem, right? That's the problem. You may think I'm attacking her. No, I'm not attacking her. I'm attacking this persona that she has that's in practically every black woman.
I think, all right, so two things. We didn't get to our argument we didn't get to our hip hop argument. Because
is there a little bit after this or a lot?
Yeah, which is fine. We don't have to.
No, we
could do it later. But remember what starts the discussion. So it says Sexy Red is misguiding black women, right? Or was put in place to misguide black women.
Yeah.
That's what they said. So if you are a grown black woman with autonomy, if you're a grown person with autonomy, right? Because all people who are grown have autonomy, they can do what they want, right? You may find it insulting for someone to tell you that you don't have control over what you're doing, right? You might like if I were to get online and tell fans of Fresh and Fit or Kevin Samuel fans that they were a bunch of they were sheep, they would not react kindly to that, right? At all. So it's natural to kind of be upset by that. I get that. This isn't about race. This isn't about race. What I'm about to say. Just use that as an example. But she did too. She kind of did too. If you point at if you call me, you attack me, and I defend myself, and then you shine a light on me defending myself, and you say, "Look how violent this black man is." Is that fair?
Is it fair?
Is it fair? Is it right? If I hit you in your face,
if you're defending yourself, no, I think it's right.
Right. Exactly. If you had to defend yourself, and while you're defending yourself, I put a light on you and said, "Look how violent you are." That wouldn't be right. If I stole all your money, and then I put a light on you and said, "Look how irresponsible you are. Look how poor you are. Look how incapable you are of taking care of yourself," that wouldn't be right, right? There's a little bit of that here, right? You can't if we attack somebody and then they defend themselves and we don't like the way they're defending themselves, and be like, look at how these people act. That wouldn't be right. So all I'm saying is, and I'm not saying you're not right or that you don't have good points that you've made. All I'm saying is when she gets worked up like this on the show, that's the point. That's the point. That's not like my friend's state of being or anything like that.
No, again, I'm not.
And
to be honest,
I know you're not attacking her or anything, but in this instance, when people are making this argument that like women hip hop artists are so bad for society, they may be right. They may be right. Let's say they're right. In fact, I might agree that what a lot of these ladies are rapping about is no go, but it's not cool for me to say that and then talk about how great Pac and Big was. Like they were rapping about the same thing. That's all I'm saying. And eventually that's the point that she gets to make it. Like, this isn't new. It's not even it's not new to women. It's not new to hip hop, right? This has been the art. This has been the art the whole way through. So if you're gonna point a finger at everyone. All right.
No, I do agree with that.
Finger, you got some pointing back at you. That's the point.
So, wait. Let's like if we ever do a hip hop episode.
Yeah.
Maybe this is crazy, but I don't think Pac and Biggie is all that great.
Now, okay. So I'm gonna ask you: do you think? And this is just I guess this is a teaser for when we do a hip hop episode. Do you think they're not that great because their subject matter was amoral and not a good influence, or do you think they weren't skilled?
No, I think they were skilled.
Okay,
definitely skilled.
Okay.
Their subject matters did not really do anything for me. That's the thing, right? Subject matter. I mean, again, the subject matter didn't do nothing for me
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that, okay, I don't need to. I guess, of course, I didn't relate to it, nor did I find it interesting. Right? Let's
Okay.
say Kanye. Right? His subject matter is not necessarily like I found it. I found his skillfulness. Right?
Yeah.
It was amazing, and not necessarily like his subject matter related to me, but it was interesting and his flow. It's just how it's just how you do it, right?
Yeah.
There's ways to get it across to somebody.
Okay.
Well, I'm talking. I think Pac and Biggie just they went too hard into, at least I think in their beginning, right? More closer into their beginning, into their lifestyle. I like Biggie towards the end, which is crazy, but I
Yeah.
liked it toward the end where what is it? The what is it, the famous song, what Biggie can't you see?
Yeah. Big Pop.
I
Yeah.
like that song.
Hypnotized. Big Pop. Yeah.
So it's like, so that's the things where certain things where, okay, that was fun song, right? That's so I wouldn't. So it's hard, right? But that one song did not necessarily make him the best rapper to me. And
Okay.
Pac, I mean, like I only heard like, what was the California, was it the California one?
Yeah.
That's the only one I heard. And that's not that was different. That wasn't necessarily hood. I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. So, but that one song did not necessarily make him the greatest rapper to me.
Right.
But
Okay.
people put their whole career. That's what made them. So for me, their whole career wasn't anything special, right? It was like very. Yeah, I thought it was just, it didn't do much for me. So that's why I didn't. That's why I don't really equate them to being the best rappers. So
Okay.
if it was my list, which we probably, if we ever do it, we probably could do that, right?
Yeah. We'll have to make a list.
Pac and Biggie they're not on it, right?
Wow. All right. So I'll say this. I do think they're kind of two different discussions, but we can have them together. But I'm of two minds of the subject matter. I have two thoughts on the subject matter. What they talked about, I didn't really relate to. I'm not a gangster. I never was. Even though I grew up, I grew up in the hood, but I was never hood.
No.
But that's okay. There are instances where, because we talked about the difference between expressing what your life is like as opposed to glorification. There are instances where they both can slip into glorification. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I put Big's my favorite rapper. And I think he's best all time. But Pac probably wouldn't be on my list.
Okay. Well, what made them so different? Styles? That's what made. Okay, that's what made.
Style. So because I always thought. So take Eminem. You like Eminem, and I did too, of course. But like, he learned his the complexity of the way he rhymes. He learned that from Busta, LL Cool J, and Biggie Smalls, because he doesn't just rhyme. Like I could say the cat. I could say the Cat in the Hat came back, right? Like I could rhyme the last word at the end of every line, or I could rhyme 3 words in the line with 3 words in the next line, or I can rhyme a line. I can say a line forward and then rhyme it backwards. I can set up and pay off punchlines in one line, in a group of lines, and in a whole verse, and in a whole song. And Eminem is layering all those techniques on top of each other. That's what makes him like insane to me.
Yeah.
Between Big and Pac didn't do all that layer. Pac was like a guy who rhymed the last lines, right? And I'm not saying he was a bad rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he did more, but it was more his subject matter that connected with people.
Yeah.
Big told stories. And that's another thing Eminem is good at. He learned that from Biggie. Big told stories, and his stories were entertaining. So even when the subject matter was like, man, I don't want my kids listening to that, but he structured a whole story like a movie or a book. So even if I'm not hood, I still like listening to Warning or Niggas Bleed because the stories he's telling is like a movie. It's got a setup, it's got a midpoint, it's got an end, and he's using rhyming techniques. He's layering rhyming techniques on top of each other. So I think he was a more skilled rapper and storyteller.
Mm.
And I probably said too much because we should probably say the rest for.
We should. That would be fun.
Thoughts on it.
Before I don't want to forget this, right? Because I was thinking about this, right? Your first statement, right? Were like, oh gosh, what were you talking about? Like ideas were not the. Oh God.
When? What were we talking about?
At the beginning, right? When we started to talk, or you were talking about like just like ideas are not the same, or like not original, or
like were we talking about rappers?
No, before the rapping thing.
Oh,
you said you said ideas weren't original, or like it's like,
oh, like when we're talking about hip hop, like what they're rapping about isn't new. What the ladies are rapping about isn't new to hip hop. Is that what I was talking about?
Was it? I was like, or you talking about her? It's like,
well, when I was talking about her, I was making the point about.
Well, okay, no. My thing is right. Is like, I knew that you might like this, right? Inception, right? How the thought is that you could plant a seed. Oh, the misguidedness, right? Misguidedness, right? People,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
How you could plant a seed in someone's mind. That's the thing where, yeah, even though it's like we're adults, right? We do yeah. You were talking about how, the Fresh and Fit crew. If you said that if they're all sheeps and shit like that, right?
Right.
All that shit.
They wouldn't take kindly
But
to it.
I thought maybe I should have stopped you then. It would probably be better. But whatever. But it's like, I knew you would like this thought, right? Inception.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I love
how
it.
you just plant a seed into someone's mind, making it think that it's their own thought. And I think this is what people do, right? But it's actually not your thought. It's not. Someone planted that seed in your brain, okay? But you believe it's your own thought. Patriarchy, toxic masculinity, black women the most educated. These seeds, right? They're not hers. They're not her thoughts, right? Feminism or whatever, right? I can name any kind of different subjects, right? They planted that seed. So really, it is that goes back to that first comment we were talking about, right? How you think you're an adult but you know what? That's not you forget what's human beings, right? We're humans, right? We could easily follow other things. We could easily follow people. We could, people are naturally sheeps, right? Leaders are rare. Sheeps are dime a dozen. That's the thing, right? That's what happens, right? Followers, there could always be followers. Leaders are rare. That's the thing where, you know what? And that's what it goes back to. People plant that seed. So for us to be an adults, that's why I said it's just taking accountability, right? You gotta take accountability. It's like, fine, I fucked up, I messed up, I did it, right? You know what? I listened to this person, I did it, but whatever. You know what? I messed up. This is where a thing where we talk about thing where you worry what you said we said in plenty of shows where you worry about men listening to certain things and maybe interpret it a certain way and then become misogynistic or whatever. At the end of the day, yeah, you're adults. You took a seed, right? All this knowledge you take, right? One seed popped in your head, and then you did whatever you did, right? But at the end of the day, it's like this is the part where it's adults. They gotta take accountability. You did what you did. Although you're an adult, but you nothing like all these ideas happen, but you gotta be careful. With how you that's why I always say don't just blindly listen, right?
You can be influenced by what you watch and what you listen to.
Do you want to continue about it?
Or yeah, I mean, do you want to? I mean, we can go another. I mean, it's. I'm not gonna tell everybody else what time it is, but.
I mean, we talk about this a lot, so I mean, I think we were delving deep. So it's up to you. I mean, to be honest, is like again, I'm not trying to like go in deep into that. We went deep with the ideas and topics already, so we don't have to go to a part 2 and stuff. Because, like I said, if you guys want to watch it, you guys should check them out. You know, Heads Nerds in Charge, right? That's the channel. But it's more like I want to use the ideas.
Wednesdays from 8 to 10:30, but
yeah, I want to use the ideas that they have. Not necessarily. I'm not trying to necessarily. Again, if I'm watching too much, I may step up a bound and really insult her. Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not trying to insult her because I want you to react to the Kendra G thing, because then you'll see that she's just a carbon copy of like the seed that's planted in her brain is planted in so many Black women's brain, right? Okay. So that's what I'm arguing about. That seed that's poisoned this woman's mind, right? How nice she is, whatever, it's cool, but it's like you can't escape that whoever Leo DiCaprio her brain, right?
Okay, all right.
But I think today was a fun ass conversation. I love it.
It's dope. It was really dope. Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
But I don't know. I think it was awesome. We went everywhere, you know. But it's like I think there's a lot of tidbits for future shows, right? Because and this is why I love you. I'm doubting anyone who watched this long, but I mean, if you do, you guys are amazing. But this is why I love this show, right? This is why this is my favorite. This is my favorite part of the channel, is this show, right? Because this is the only way. Because like I say a lot of shit with the other things, but I mean I can't dive in deep, and I'm just pretty much talking to myself, right? So it's hard. But the Devil's Advocate podcast is my favorite, because this is where we could dive in deep into so many different topics, and it goes everywhere and anywhere. And like I would not think that, okay, now I have inspiration for a rap show.
Yeah.
A rap episode. That'd be amazing. But I mean, like, yo, that's what we could do. Like, this is for a future thing where we could talk about our feelings and our thoughts about, you know, the rap industry. You know, we could go in deeper about the rap industry. I think we could talk about the impact that rap has had, and we delved a little bit into other episodes too, where we talked about how, you know, the rap industry, or, you know, entertainment, you know, has affected the Black community, and it has. I think it's been a detriment in general. Although, I mean, I love rap. I mean, I've listened to plenty of rap, but the rap I listen to is not necessarily conventional, right? One of my favorites, like Tech Nine. I mean, that guy's not necessarily like on anyone's list of like top 10 rappers or anything, but I love him. Wale is he's one of my top 10s, right? Okay. So you'd be surprised who's my top one. I mean, but it's like, you said Biggie's your top?
I think Biggie's my top. Yeah.
Well, Eminem is mine. So.
Okay.
But,
okay. All right.
But we always talk about that, so that's what I'm saying.
So it's funny. I want to have that discussion with you, because I had a good friend. Eminem was also his favorite rapper, and I mean, we're cool. We went at it over that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you know, and to be clear, I love Eminem music. I listen to it all the time. I think he's incredible. But we were talking about, like, I was like, well, no, Big was better. He was like, how could Big be better if Eminem can do this, that, and the third? And he made some really good points, but I had some points to make back about you know, about whose skill was higher.
For me, is that I can tell you this, right? It's a tidbit, but I think, and necessarily, it's maybe not even against Biggie or even Tupac, right? Mm-hmm. Is that it's sad about their career.
Yeah, that is.
The only part is that you cannot ever deny Eminem's career. You just can't. Mm-hmm. So as much as you think, because that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say this, right? We always talk about, like, you're a big proponent on like movies and stuff. Box office, no matter, let's say this, no matter how much anyone can say a movie sucks, Like, I hate Titanic. Right? I hate it. It's a garbage movie, in my opinion. But it is one of the most highest grossing movie of all time.
All time. Yeah.
You cannot say anything about that. So how can, I mean, as much as I hate Titanic, well, most of the world loved it enough to make it the most highest grossing movie of all time. So really, it's like, at the end of the day, who are we to say that, okay, this movie sucks because it sucked? No, it obviously was good because it's shown why it was good. So to the same, my same thing is like, you know what, as much as, again, let's say we talk about, you said it, right? Biggie being kind of like an influence or a teacher in a sense to Eminem. But again, you teach what you can't do. And, Biggie, and it's not necessarily because of Biggie himself, because of his short career. But, his career couldn't last that long as, it's reality as much as, against his fate, against his own hands. But again, Eminem's career outshined practically any rapper, right? So that's why people always say, like, oh, I don't know if you've seen it, right? There was a little while back where they said the top 5 rappers of all time. A lot of people were putting Lil Wayne. I was like,
never.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know what? No. Now I think about it, we could center our episode around that. Okay. Now that's what I think about. We could center it around that. We could talk about that idea. I think I can find a clip or something that talked about that list. And I was thinking about, I like Lil Wayne, but I mean, his career can't even come close to Eminem.
It's definitely not as long. Has he had as many hits?
I don't think so. I mean, well, we could dive in deeper, but I'm just saying, like, that's some things like, hell, I mean, like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I put it on the sub. I mean, like, the what is it? The objective fact, right? The non-objective. What is it? Objective fact. The fact, right? Yeah. The fact that I look at his career. That's what I'm saying. Practically all of Eminem's album has hit, whatever, or he put all this, like, more than other rappers. It's just, again, and the influence that he's had. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I put him. But we definitely could go deep into that, and I think we could decide when we'll do that. So
okay.
Cool. I think that'll be fun.
That would be fun. Definitely.
That'll probably be more a fun episode. Less, but I wanted to sprinkle some critical thoughts, about the community and shit, because I want to do that because I think it's valuable, right? Because to break the mold, to be different, and not just be like, oh, this is all about rap. No, because I do think, in general, rap, in a sense, has been a detriment. So I want to talk about that. All right. So it was a fun, crazy conversation.
Another one, yeah. Another one in the books.
It was. But I hope if you guys stayed this long, I hope you guys liked it too. Hope you guys, like and subscribe. Yeah, it was fun. But that's it. Later, guys.
Take care. Thanks.